Hello everybody, yes, we are live again. So hi there to Lando and hi there to Oksana. Whoops, that needs to be in the middle. And hi to Julia. So great to see you. Okay, and next stream will be on Thursday, which is the 19th of December at 3:30 p.m. UK time. So let me put that in the stream. Hi there to Tyfor, hi to Human, and hi to Nina as well. Okay, we were doing this article about nuclear power and how nuclear power is making a comeback. Many of the nuclear power plants and things were stopped, but now this is something that's making a comeback. So let's paste and we'll see. So by the end of the hi Yuri, lovely to see you. You're making a comeback. Good to see you. Lovely to have you, Julia. So according to Barclays Research, data centers account for 3.5% of electricity intake, depletion, consumption, dissipation in the US today, but that figure could rise to more than 9% by the end of the decade. Okay, so we've got consumption from Julia and Oksana and from Human and from Tyfor. It's not sufficient, it doesn't suffice. So to suffice is a verb, Yuri. It doesn't suffice, but it's better than a slap in the eye with a dead fish. Hello, Jack. Great to see you. Lando goes for consumption, and so does Nina. Electricity consumption. It's a clear collocation. Intake. What goes in? No. Depletion. Something getting used up, getting depleted. Yeah. I think, therefore, I am. High average ape. And dissipation, to dissipate, to go away. No, it's electricity consumption. Very definitely. Or is it I think, therefore I think I am? Average ape. Okay, in September, Microsoft signed a 20-year deal which will lead to the reopening of the disreputable, infamous, scandalous, atrocious 3 Mile Island power station in Pennsylvania, the site of the worst nuclear accident in US history. 3 Mile Island. It was quite a while ago though. So let's see. Infamous for Lando. Hi Nadia, lovely to see you. Infamous for Oksana. Infamous for Human. Notorious, says Yuri, and notorious would fit very nicely. Infamous for Nina. Infamous for Julia. Yep. Infamous. Okay, infamous for Nina. Yes. Of ill reputation. Yes. Well, infamous means famous for being bad. Yeah, you're famous because you did something bad. Hi Patricia, lovely to see you. Yeah, infamous. So if you're infamous, you have a reputation for being a very bad person. Yeah, notorious, absolutely. If you're disreputable, well, a disreputable builder, a disreputable car dealer. Scandalous. Like notorious, big notorious, yes. Abominable, but abominable and famous. So I don't know, I guess Adolf Hitler was pretty infamous. Scandalous is just with scandal. And atrocious, normally a situation is atrocious. Something somebody does is atrocious. Somebody who's infamous is famous for doing atrocious things. Okay, so infamous. Infamous. And Okay, despite its public image, so despite its contaminated, polluted, infected, tainted public image, another reactor at the plant continued to generate electricity until 2019. So, an image. We've got tainted for Oksana, tainted for Nina, tainted for Human, tainted for Lando, tainted for Julia, tainted for Patricia. So, contaminated. Food could be contaminated. A contaminated public image. Well, this is contaminated with lead. Polluted with pollution. With dirty waste, infected with a disease, tainted, tarnished, good word Lando, tainted from Nadia, marred, flawed, contaminated water, yes, definitely, but tainted. This goes with an image, a tainted image. If it's tainted, it's got a little bit of something bad in it. So something that's contaminated is tainted with a poison. So typhoid contaminated would work, but tainted image, a tainted public image, yeah, is with something contaminated with something dirty. Lizzie is fine. I've talked to her already this morning. She's on the way to a place called Valladolid with some friends right now. Okay, so a tainted public image, very definitely. Tainted love. The deal to resume, reopen, refresh, rejuvenate, repeat, it has been described as a powerful symbol of the rebirth of nuclear power as a clean and reliable energy resource. So, let's see. Excuse me a second. We've got reopened from Oksana and Lando and Julia. Sorry about that. Reopen for Human. Resume its work. To resume is to restart. You stop and then you resume. Also, resume can be to sum up. To rejuvenate it. Oof. To rejuvenate it, to make it young again. I don't think they're going to make it young again. I think they're going to build something completely new. No problem, Renyard. You're still well in time to reopen, to reconstruct. I would say to rebuild it, to reconstruct it, to reopen it, very definitely. Reopen for Typhal. Well done, Typhal. Reopen for Renyard. I resumed learning English with you. Yes, Yuri. To resume doing something. To refresh. You refresh your page. No, it's definitely to reopen. A fur and the wool. Reopen. Wolf, the fur of an animal, the wool of an animal. I think normally the fur very often has the skin attached as well. The power station. I handed in my resume. Reformulate. The wool is always cut where you cut the hair off the surface. So is this fur or wool? That's a very difficult one, Muzaffar. Okay, let's go for the next one. I think let's see. Wool never has the skin attached. Very definitely. Paste. Other titans, giants, ogres, trolls have taken a different approach. The fur. Let's see, wool is nearly always from a sheep, whereas something that is fur is soft and hairy. So I wouldn't call this wool, but I might call it fur. Other tech giants, tech titans, tech ogres, tech trolls have taken different approaches. So we've got tech giants from Oksana and Julia and Nina and Human and Lando. Ogres and trolls. I think they are ogres and trolls, but they call them giants. Giants, behemoths, good word, Renyard. Thank you, Muzaffar. Tech giants. Yeah. Tech giants. It's giants. Let's see. The collocation is giants. Tech titans would work, but this is the collocation. This is the phrase that is used. Tech giants. Tech juggernauts. I prefer behemoths to juggernauts. For me, a juggernaut is more a large truck. Tech giants. Good Lionheart. Welcome. Tech giants. Let's see. Titans is possible. Yeah. And I like the tech titans, the alliteration, but they call them tech giants. That's the phrase they use. And ogres and trolls are bullies. They are bad people. Tech tycoons. I love it. A tech titan tycoon. Okay. Yeah. So Google plans to buy energy produced from a handful of so-called small modular reactors, or SMRs, a formative, primeval, nascent germ technology intended to make nuclear energy easier and cheaper to deploy. Amazon is also supporting SMR development and construction. Wool is generally associated with sheep, woolly hair, curly fur, associated with skin, arms and legs. I would say that the best thing is the wool is normally the sheep. So Human goes for nascent. Oksana goes for nascent. Nadia for nascent. Nina for nascent. Nascent for Renyard. Primeval. No, primeval, Lando, is something that is from the origins, the primeval earth where the dinosaurs lived, or primeval earth before life existed on earth. Yeah, something is primeval. It goes back into the past to the to a very long time ago. Yeah. A formative technology, formative, during your formative years, formative is teaching or being taught. Nascent is being born. Budding technology, definitely, Lando. In a primeval state, I think it's more than a primeval state, but the English is good, Yuri. And germ, I think you could say germinal would work. But a germ is some sort of bacteria or bug. So nascent, being born. Nacer in Spanish, yes, definitely. Control V. Whoops. A nascent technology. Embryonic, definitely, Patricia. Embryonic's a good word. Okay. SMRs themselves are being promoted in part as a solution to one of the biggest flaws, faults, blemishes, drawbacks facing nuclear power today. Germinal, foundational, yes. Okay, yeah, because a seed germinates. Okay, drawbacks for Oksana and Nina and Human. Flaws. A flaw is a basic mistake. One of the biggest flaws facing. You see, if nuclear reactors have flaws, then they're going to break down. There's a design flaw. A flaw is talking about a mistake, whereas a drawback is a problem. Yeah, biggest flaws. Drawback. A drawback is a problem. Drawbacks for Patricia. Drawbacks for Julia. One of the biggest faults facing, but you don't really face a fault. One of the pitfalls, I like pitfalls, Julia. A setback is where you advance in something and then you have a problem that makes it worse. A drawback, as in a disadvantage. A fault is a mistake. If you make flaws in English, it's better than the slap in the eye with a dead fish. Very good, Yuri. One of the biggest faults, you see, I would say, as a solution to one of the biggest faults of nuclear power, faults in nuclear power, but one of the faults facing, one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest disadvantages. You see, flaws and faults talk about mistakes, and a blemish is a dirty mark. So there is a blemish on my reputation. Disadvantages facing nuclear power, absolutely. Yeah, it's not necessarily a mistake. The biggest faults, biggest flaws, biggest blemishes, things wrong with. But the drawback, it's something that you've got to bear in mind. Yeah, problems would work very, very nicely. Drawbacks is a better word, though. I think drawbacks is a very good. A blemish on the skin. Yuri is admirably persistent, learning the slap in the eye with a dead fish. Okay, he's helping everybody else memorize it too, which is very good. Okay, it's a drawback. A drawback. Yes, you're admitted. Definitely, Yuri. Okay, and in Western nations, new power stations have to be built to difficult, fussy, exacting, stern, modern safety standards. Some people have a blemish-free skin. Not me. Not unless I hit the like, sir. Very good. So in Western nations, new power stations have to be built to difficult, fussy, exacting, stern, modern safety standards. Okay, so Patricia goes for exacting, Human for exacting, Nina says stern. And then she changes her mind for difficult. Exacting for Renyard, stern for Typhor. Fussy says Yuri. Ooh, this is getting more interesting now. Okay. Let's see. What a strange construction of a sentence. Julia says stern, and so does Nadia. This is really interesting. You see, the word I would use stern for a person. A stern describes a person. And stern, to me, it implies the application of the morals, a blemish-free skin, with a sensible diet and sleep in a stress-free life. So let's see, I think all of these fit. A person tends to be fussy. Yeah, a fussy eater. I want this, I don't want that, and I want less salt. Amid the standards. Okay, so the answer for me is exacting. Demanding safety standards. I think I would use stern to describe a person. Exacting collocates with standards. Okay, he's very fussy about his eating. My grandfather was a stern old man, and difficult would fit as well. Very difficult to satisfy, very difficult to please. That's it, that's very good. That's it, Patricia. So I think they all fit, but exacting is by far the best word for this. The teacher was very exacting and told me my English didn't suffice. A stern test. You can use stern for other things, but it's most commonly for a person. And exacting is exacting standards. It collocates exactly. Okay, this combined with their sheer scale makes them utterly, dearly, prohibitively, extravagantly expensive and complicated to build. Utterly for Lando, prohibitively for Oksana, utterly for Nina, utterly for Julia, utterly for Yuri, utterly for Human, prohibitively for Renyard, prohibitively for Patricia. Okay, let's look at this word dearly. Firstly, dear can mean expensive. What an utter fuss. Yes, I think it could be an utter fuss. So, prohibitively for Nadia. Prohibitively expensive, it does, doesn't it? It collocates very nicely. So, dearly, expensively expensive. No, I can't take that. Okay, extravagantly expensive. This sounds like a party, but it can't be utterly. They will pay for it dearly. Utterly is an extreme. An expensive is agradable. This is like outrageously expensive. This is like saying this is utterly difficult. No, utterly is for extreme. It's very hot. It's utterly boiling. So, utterly with extremes, not with gradables. An expensive is a gradable. Yeah, expensive, it's not off the top. It needs to be very expensive, extremely expensive, prohibitively expensive, even extravagantly expensive, but utterly doesn't work. Yes, but her patients are nuts already. Okay, so you can't utterly. Be very careful with totally expensive. Utterly expensive would mean totally expensive. And you can't use totally. Absolutely expensive. No, you can't, because those are with gradables. It's got to be prohibitively expensive, because prohibitively is gradable. Yes, Julia, good. Hinkley Point C is a good example of Britain's first new nuclear power station since the mid-1990s. Is being built on a spread, span, spell stretch of remote coastline in southwest England, near London. So, of coastline. A spread of coastline, a span of coastline, a spell of coastline, a stretch of coastline. So, Oksana says stretch, so does Julia, so does Patricia, so does Lionheart. A spread of coastline for Jack. Stretch of coastline for Human. Stretch for Renyard. So notice, absolutely late. You can't be utterly late. I'm very late. Late is gradable. Absolute is absolute. I'm absolute. I'm very, very late. No problem, Manu. It's lovely to see you. Stretch for Typhoon. Stretch of remote coastline. A bit. Utterly extortionate. Yes, Nina. Utterly extortionate. Very expensive. A stretch. So, it's definitely stretch. A spread. A spread can also be a piece of land, but notice it goes along the coast. It's talking about the coastline, and therefore a stretch is two-dimensional. A spread in this case would be three-dimensional. A stretch would be a line, whereas a spread would be an area. Utterly angry, no. Utterly furious, Yuri. Utterly furious, but very angry. A stretch of coastline. A spread, though, normally talks about lots of different food in a buffet. A span of time. A spell is a period of time. A stretch. Built on a stretch. Because notice, you stretch, it's two dimensions. Spread, it's one dimension, and it's two dimensions. Spread is an area. Okay, a stretch of remote coastline. Okay, it's meant to be the first of a deal batch spate cluster of new plants to replace the country's aging reactor fleet. It's meant to be the first of a deal, batch, spate, cluster. So, cluster for Oksana, cluster for Nadia, cluster for Yuri. A prohibitively expensive thing. A spread of land. It is possible. But a spread of land is talking about an area, a stretch of road, but a spread of land. A spread of land is talking about square meters. Cluster for Renyard, cluster for Julia, cluster for Human, batch for Lando, batch for Jack. We're all clustering. Cluster for Patricia, batch for Typhoon. This one's going to be really good. Okay, so ice creams for Lando, Jack and Typhoon. It's a batch. A cluster says they're all together in the same place. Yeah? Cluster is much more spatial. Yeah? Where a batch is a group of. A batch, they're going to make 4 or 5 of them. A batch is several things that you make at the same time, but they're going to put them all over the place. Yeah? So they're going to make them all at the same time, and it's a batch, it's not a cluster. Cluster is talking about grouped together, pushed together. A spate is where several things happen in a row. So a spate of rainstorms, a spate of arrests, a batch of cookies, hi Chaya, a batch of new plants, new ones. Yeah, it's a batch. A series, yes, a batch is a series. Very often products have a batch number, and that's like a run on a machine. You get the machine, you get a cluster, a connected system. Cluster, yes, but a cluster should be close. The people clustered together in fear. For example, people very often cluster Spain and Portugal together. Good, I'm glad this one is difficult. When I'm buying things that are expensive, I say you deserve someone like Marie Antoinette to ruin you. A batch of new words. Closeness is key. Yes, exactly, Oksana. It's a good batch of new words. Let's try another one then. Oh, yes. No, it's the clutch. The clutch, el diferencial. Here we go. A cluster of bacteria. Yes, there are clusters of bacteria in certain places in the kitchen. They're all growing together. But the project is... Ooh. Okay, Oksana says falling behind. Yeah, falling behind is good. Is running, says Oksana. Running for Yuri, running for Nina, running for Lando, running for Renyard. Running ahead of time, running behind time. Is going behind schedule? No. Is working behind schedule? Is moving behind schedule? So, to run behind time, it's running ahead of time, it's running behind time. I'm running behind with my English learning. Yes, running for Lionheart. Not is moving, it's running. To run, I'm running behind. Is working behind. I wouldn't use working at all, Lando. I wouldn't use working in this. Is working behind schedule. It's running behind schedule. Is working behind schedule? No, I wouldn't use it. The project is running some years behind schedule. Good, Jack. Running for Nadia as well. Okay, I guess it's time to stop, ladies and gentlemen. So, let's see. Next stream is on Thursday, which is going to be the 19th of December. At you're running late today. That's it. That's a very good example, Manu. At 3:30 p.m. UK time. It's been great seeing you all. I hope you all have a wonderful day as well. And take care. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Jack. So, let's see. Thank you to Chaya and Lionheart and Human. Thank you to Jack and Lando and Manu. Thank you to Nadia and Nina and Oksana. Thank you to Patricia and Renyard and Typhul and Yuri. And it's lovely to have you back, Patricia, as well. Okay, so yeah, I will see you all on Thursday. I hope it's been really good. We've had a couple of interesting ones. So thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Renyard. Lovely to see you, Nina. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Lando. It's been a pleasure having you, Manu. Thanks, Nadia. So, Mohammed Mansouri, thank you for coming. Thanks, Julia. Hey, you're running behind with your English. You're doing fine with your English, Yuri. Okay, so take care, all of you, and I hope to see you all soon. So, I'm going to say bye for now.